Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Just kidding. I've had a lot of requests for this video, so this video will be a little bit different than the other videos I've posted so far on my channel. If you've been following me here for a little bit, I am just recording this, not editing it, trying to get it up as soon as possible because I have some kindergarten friends who need a little bit of help figuring out virtual kindergarten. So if you're new here, I guess I'll give you a quick rundown on who I am. And then you can decide if you want to listen to what I have to say or not. So, my name is Jessica. I am an OCT. I am teaching virtual kindergarten this year. I was previously an ECE. However, I will always be an ECE at heart. I'm just not currently registered with the CEC right now. I am working on my master's in education. I do some freelance work with some organizations and some volunteer organizations doing things related to education, especially early ed. I'm a college course facilitator, so I am running a few, in an ECE program, so I'm running a couple preschool programming courses this term, which will be really exciting. I love preschool. And I'm a mom, and yeah, I've done kindergarten for a handful of years, so I know a thing or two about it. And I've also done virtual learning before, so I have another video where I talk a little bit about my experience teaching virtually in the summertime, SK1 intervention group, something along those lines. Anyways, so I feel pretty confident in kind of giving you guys a little bit of advice today, telling you how I'm running my programming so far. We just had day 2, and things are going all right. So I just want to share with you guys how things are going because I want you to feel confident in your program. So I'm hearing a lot of people panicking about virtual learning. I know a lot of people are finding out really last minute that they're teaching virtually, whether it's by choice or not so much by choice, or getting their grade assignments here within the past few days. A lot of boards have pushed back their start date for virtual, which totally makes sense. It's really a lot to set up for administrators and everyone at our board offices. So it's definitely important that we're patient and we understand that this is a huge undertaking. So what I'm hearing a lot of is, how can we run kindergarten virtually? How is that possible? How is it possible to have kindergartners sitting at the computer for 6 hours straight, doing, all these Zoom meetings and, writing a dissertation and, constantly being in front of the computer? And then whenever I tell people that was a joke, by the way. Whenever I tell people, like in public, just normal non-educator folk, they always ask, what are you teaching this year? And I tell them, virtual kindergarten. I'm so excited. And I always get a very strange look, like, how do you teach virtual kindergarten? How is that a thing? Again, how are the kids going to sit there for 6 hours and listen to you at the computer? Well, let me tell you that when I first heard the numbers, so obviously if you're watching this, you're an Ontario person, and you know that we have, I think it's 180 minutes mandated required asynchronous learning time, which amounts to 3 hours out of your 6 hour, I think it's 6 hour school day. I know I was overwhelmed when I heard that number at first, but then I really thought about how I did my summer learning program, and I was like, you know what? Sometimes 180 minutes doesn't feel like enough time. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how I have my day organized, how we run our day, and a little bit of the why behind it, okay? So I want to say that when I say I mean we. My classroom is an equal partnership between myself and my teaching partner, who is an amazing ECE, and that is the way that all kindergarten classes should function, is a professional and ethical relationship between two co-teachers who are in agreement about how they're going to run their programming and how they're going to address the needs of their students and families. So with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and I've got my notes here. wonder if I should put it up. These are just some notes I made for myself. What I'm going to suggest to you, if you're one of my friends who is overwhelmed about virtual learning, is that you get out a pen and paper right now and take a couple notes, and we'll figure this out together, okay? So first, let's start by me laying this out. If you're new to kindergarten, you might be wondering why people are so concerned with having a play-based program. Welcome to kindergarten, and what should really be all grades. We learn through play. We learn through play. Play is a necessary, important, valid, number one priority in our day. Children have a right to play. Children learn through play. All of their domains are developed through play and through playful and joyful experiences. Play should not be a reward that is dangled in front of students that they can sometimes earn at the end of the day if they're lucky enough. Play should not be an afterthought, and play should not be thought of as a break from real learning. Play is real learning, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I also need to clarify while we're here that that does not end on the last day of kindergarten. That goes on for many years. Children learn through play and should be spending the majority of their day playing to learn. So now that we've got that also out of the way, I will tell you what is incorporated in our daily programming. So we run it like a regular day. So what does that include? Whole group, small group, one-on-one, tons of play, and something that you may not necessarily have much of in your on-campus programming is time to conference with the grown-ups. Something else that we are able to include that we may not necessarily have a lot of access to in our regular programming is the ability to provide our grown-ups with a lot of resources to help them to support their child in learning. So I'm going to start off by talking a little bit about that. So whole group is both the educators and all the students. They have their parents with them. They're all in the meeting at once. Small group, how it looks like for our class is a quarter of the class with an educator at a time, while the other half has their free and open play experiences. And one-on-one time looks like an educator with one student at a time, just like in your regular school programming. That is included throughout the week. Conferencing with the parents, or I should say grown-ups, is included throughout every week. And the reason being that grown-ups who have chosen to sign on with virtual learning have taken on the responsibility of supporting their child's sorry, I'm losing my voice from talking all day. From supporting their child's learning at home. And I'm just going to take a quick pause of this video. I have read so many stories and sang so many songs today. My voice is very strained. All right, bear with me and be very careful and gentle with your voice. Pro tip. Okay. Yes, the conferencing with grown-ups. I'm trying to remember to use my inclusive language. Is an important part of our week. We're able to talk with parents. We're able to educate them on the importance of play-based learning. We're able to talk to them about ways that they can support their child's learning at home. Some parents, grown-ups, have specific things that they want to work on with their child, and they want to talk to us about how they can support their child in doing that. Some of them might have questions about behaviors or questions about developmental milestones. And what's really great about this is we're able to talk to them and answer those questions as opposed to maybe when you're kind of rushing at the end of the day at pickup or drop off, or when you're trying to hopefully finish up a game of phone tag on your prep and lunch periods. So I guess I'll tell you now about how our day is structured. So I wonder if I have it here. I do. At the beginning of the year, so last week, Every parent got their child's school information from us, along with a little parent guide that we made. The parent guide just talked about like the rules and expectations, and explained what our day looks like, and explained how to get into Google Classroom and Google Meets and how to click on things, and suggestions for creating their at-home learning space, so that they could have everything set up and ready to go for the first day. Every parent got a PDF with clickable links as their schedule. If you're taking notes, write this down. You want to create a PDF with clickable links. I personally enjoy using PowerPoint. So I just created our daily schedule in PowerPoint and saved it as a PDF. The links are automatically clickable. You don't have to do anything extra. So I am showing you my daily schedule here. It might be a little hard to see. I'm using my brand new selfie ring light. And there we go. Oh, I should probably be covering our names. Too late now. So anyways, it has the time, what that block is called, what they're doing, and what their code is. There's no thinking, no remembering necessary. They have this saved to their desktop, which is what I asked them to do. I know that they all have desktops because I did a parent survey before we started, so I know desktop or laptop, so I know they're not using an iPad. So they just go, oh, well, it's 11:20, so I just click this one, and it takes them right to where they need to be. They don't need to remember everything. They don't need to juggle meet codes. It's all on their schedule. They don't have to ask us where they need to be or when or how to get there. Every parent or every child has two codes, a whole group code and a small group code. So half the students have my teaching partner's small group code and half the students have my small group code. For some reason, someone had to switch and see the other educator. We would just link them that code real quick. But for now, this is the schedule that we are using. And having it color-coded has also been really helpful because we can say, just go to the blue section and click that link. That's where that will be. They need a little extra help. Lifesaver, time saver, highly suggest you create this. And also, it's helpful for me to have that visual. I have it right here on my desk, which is actually my bed beside me. And I'm able to refer to it throughout the day because we're still getting used to our routine. So I'm able to refer to this really quickly. So in the morning, we meet for a morning meeting. Starts with OCanada in attendance, just like a regular school day. In that morning meeting, includes our songs, sharing time, our read aloud, and then we will have like a journal that they write or draw their reflections in afterwards. After morning meeting, they would have a break, and then they're either going to go to free play or they're going to join us for a small group. So they're clicking that small group meet code and coming and joining my partner and I and getting a more a lesson that is at their level. So again, that's play-based. It's fun. And it might be a game, it might be a movement activity. There are a variety of things that you could be doing during that small group time, just like you would in your real small groups in a regular classroom. Then they have their lunch and recess period, and then we have another whole group. So we begin each block with a whole group, which is, I think, what oftentimes people do in their regular classroom, right? At the beginning of the day and then after each recess, meet together as a whole group. So then we have our middle block whole group session. So I'll run one whole group session a day and my partner will run the other whole group session that day, and we'll both kind of be there supporting one another and attending to emails while the other one is running things in the classroom. So of course, after that middle block whole group meeting is our small group meeting again, so the kids know, okay, either I'm going off to open play or I am meeting with an educator. Then we have our lunch and recess yet. And then we have our third block whole group meeting. And how that will look, just due to scheduling and preps and stuff, is 4 days a week is small group inquiry. So half the class with my partner, half the class with myself. And 1 day a week is a whole group process-based art lesson. and inquiry, and what are whole group process-based art lessons. What that looks like, I think, is a whole other video. And if you guys want to hear that, let me know in the comments below, and I can definitely make a video on that towards the end of next week. I'm quite busy right now, so I'm not going to get into what that means. So inquiry or art at the end of the day, followed by prep with the prep teacher. So that's it, right? I'm running it like a regular school day. We don't have our visits to the library, but that's okay because we're enjoying a variety of books, and they also have access to online resources for books. We are going to be starting Scholastic Book Club and some other things that will allow them to get access to more stories and more reading materials over time. We don't want to try to do everything all at once right away. The other thing, this is what I wanted to touch on next. I'll read to you what it says at the open play periods. I'll read our first open play block. Open play. Students engage in learning through play, indoors or outdoors. This should be a screen-free time. You may refer to the literacy choice board. See, so it says free play, and it describes what's happening at that time. So we have taken time to educate our grown-ups on the importance of play-based learning and how learning is how children play, so they understand that this isn't just them having a break or goofing off and being silly. That play is a very important time of the day, and it can be outdoors or indoors. And we're encouraging them to spend as much time outdoors as possible during every school day. We are providing parents with choice boards. So there's 3. There's a literacy choice board, a math choice board, and a small and gross motor choice board. So those choice boards contain a variety of activities that are kind of like, what would be the word? Like generic enough that they can do it multiple times, and how they engage with and what they do for that activity will change based on a variety of factors, such as, you know, the weather, the season, the materials that they're choosing to use, their own creativity. So for example, one of the choices on the writing choice board is to create a card for someone you care about, right? Like that's going to look different on a birthday or near Christmas or near the summertime, right? Plenty of opportunities to make a variety of cards. It's a generic enough of a choice that it can be done over and over again. So the choice board is optional. And again, we've educated our parents on what, our grown-ups on what that means. So it's something that they can use if they want to with their child. They don't have to only use it during free play. They can use it at other times as well. And if they want to set up like a little thing for their child, have their child come and do it, so they've set up an experience where they can make cards, then that's totally up to them, totally optional. We try to ensure that the majority of our activities involved just things that they would already have access to, things that don't require the buying of materials, or things that are outdoors, things that you can use recycled materials to make and do things that you would just, you know, can do with what is already in your home. So those choice boards have been well received by parents. They like being able to, grown-ups, they like being able to pick something off that, or they can even give their child 2 or 3 choices and say like, hey, this afternoon during our play block, I would like you to try one of these things. Which would you like? And they'll pick. That being said, we also encourage different things when we're in our whole or small group. Let's say we're covering shapes. We may say, hey, when you go off and play today, I want you to notice any circles or triangles that you can find in the space that you're playing in, and you can show your grown-up those circles and triangles. Our grown-ups have agreed to kind of like assisting us with documentation. So they're all going to take 1 or 2 photos each day of their child's play and submit those to us, and we're going to put them in our folders in Google Drive so we have them all organized. That's going to help us when we write communication of learning, or if sadly they choose to go back to their regular classroom and we lose them, we can just send that Google Drive folder to their kindergarten team so that, you know, they can see what that student has done so far. which is really helpful. And if you have parents who are not able to take and submit photos, just know that you'll be able to get your documentation in other ways. So let's say they made a boat. You could ask them to come and show you the boat. So, during those sharing times, you can screenshot, take a picture of your screen of them showing you what they had made. Excellent documentation tool for you to use along with any assessments that you're required to do. I hope you're noticing so far that there is a significant amount of time in the day dedicated to play, but we've also given families a variety of options for play opportunities that they might offer their child, and we're talking to kids about their play. We're discussing their play. Today, one of our sharing questions was, what did you do at recess time yesterday? And they had a variety of things that they did. We found out like one student has a swing set in his backyard, and one kid had a fallen over tree, and he had talked to us about how he was balancing along the tree. And that gives my partner and I a great chance to jot down some quick notes. I'm a pen and paper gal. I don't like typing it on my computer. So I'm going to jot some notes about what they're talking about in our whole or small group sessions. And what I choose to do is snap a picture on my phone, upload that note to my Google Drive, put it in that student's folder, and I can just forget about it and then just delete the picture off my phone so it's not taking up space. What was the last thing I wanted to cover? So we got links, choice boards, meetings with parents to help support them in supporting their child's education. You know that we're running the day like a normal kindergarten day with whole groups, small groups, one-on-one, and parent conferencing, and leaving big chunks of the day for play. And it's play-based. The majority of the day they're playing and having fun and being joyful and having great experiences. I guess the last thing I wanted to cover was synchronous versus asynchronous. So synchronous does not equal sitting quietly. That's the biggest concern I think people have. And when we were contacting our grown-ups before we started, they said, I just don't think my child can sit still for 5 hours. So even with those 180 minutes, I always hear people say, kids can't sit still for 180 minutes. And I'm just wondering, why do we think that synchronous means sitting silently? It shouldn't mean that, and it doesn't have to mean that, and it shouldn't mean that in kindergarten or any grade. I would hope any teacher is not having their child sit still for 180 minutes or more. So what does synchronous learning look like? Well, synchronous learning can include listening to read-alouds or getting up and participating physically with the read-aloud. I'm thinking, what is it called? Going on a bear hunt, right? Like stories that they can interact with and participate with. Synchronous learning is going to look like retelling stories. It's going to look like puppet shows. It's going to look like DPA activities. I'm sure all my Ontario people know that's like physical games and songs and activities. I can't seem to get videos to present. My computer crashes every time, even though it's a less than 1-year-old computer. So I've just learned some of Jack Hartman's songs, and I just sing and dance them, and the kids do it with me, and we're working on a variety of math and language and community building skills when we're doing that. Synchronous learning can look like sharing, show and tell, scavenger hunts, students presenting things that they had made or things that they had done maybe the night before or even during an earlier play period that day. So for example, if I ask students, did you pick something off the choice board? And if you did, can you come share it? And that's part of our synchronous learning too. And it's also connecting our asynchronous and our synchronous learning together, trying to show that fluidity between the different portions of the day. I will think of a longer list of synchronous activities and I will post it in my blog, and I'm not going to have time to do that right now. So I will update you when I have a new blog post ready for you on my website. So synchronous is going to look like a lot of things, and it's going to involve as little sitting as possible. And I hope that in your kindergarten classrooms or in your grade 1 or 2 or 3 classroom, you are not spending the majority of the day, 3, 4, 5 hours of the day sitting. there's a significant amount of movement and you know, being able to engage in the environment with your body. Asynchronous is also a learning time, right? They're playing through Learn. They're choosing from the choice board. Parents, or sorry, I should say grown-ups, may be assisting you with documentation. The synchronous piece and the asynchronous piece are equally important. I know it feels difficult for us as educators because we're used to getting down on the floor and observing and documenting, or being involved in the play, or extending activities, or sending out provocations and invitations, and being there and emotionally supporting our students and their families. And I understand how it can be a little bit rough to feel like you're disconnected from those people that you care about. But I promise you that you will be building relationships with your students and their families. The 3 weeks that I had in summer learning with my students, I became very attached, and I was very sad on the last day. And it was hard to know that the students, you know, would ask to see me on the weekends, or were sad when it was over. And so it kind of just showed that you genuinely did build a normal relationship, even though you're spanning many kilometers from one another and you're connecting over a screen. You still build that class bond, and you get the kids are talking to each other and they're becoming friends, and it's just so interesting, this unique opportunity for two students who would have never had the chance to talk or connect or relate or share the common interest because they live in two geographically very different locations. To know that they get to have that connection and it's an opportunity that they would have never had before, I think it's one of those positives that have come out of a difficult situation. I would say another positive that has come out of this difficult situation is that the families that are involved, that have chosen to do this, are happy and loving it and are enjoying being able to be really involved with their child's education. I definitely can't provide any details out of preserving the privacy of my families, but it's been really interesting to hear the variety of reasons that they've had for selecting virtual learning, and to hear from families who say they kind of wish it would always be an option, just because of their unique situations and how virtual learning helps them to navigate what they have going on in terms of a variety of factors. So I want you to know that there are positives in this, that this is a difficult situation and it's not really what anyone expected for the year 2020, but we need to choose to see the positives in it, as difficult as it may be. It's difficult, it's challenging, you're learning a lot of new things, but I promise you that we'll all come out on the other end of this really strong as educators, and hopefully having benefited from this really unique experience. And you know what? I think my kids will definitely benefit from meeting people that they would have never met before, and making those really unique connections, and having their grown up there with them, enjoying and connecting and bonding with them over that learning. The other thing that I'm going to say is, I guess maybe a couple tips to help you, like in general, in terms of virtual learning. So one mistake that I had made in the summertime was putting myself in a chair. It's the same corner, it wasn't decorated like this though. I was sitting in a chair, and I'm sitting on a stool right now, but this is my classroom, and I've set it up so that I can stand, because I don't know, I gained a little weight and like didn't move and didn't get my steps in. And I need to be, if I want to be a good educator, if I want to be a good team member, if I want to be a good teaching partner, I know that I need to take care of myself first. And along with my mental health, that's going to be my physical health too. So I couldn't afford a standing desk. I just have a rolly cart with a paper organizer and my laptop on top. I ordered a $15, what do you call it, like a clip ring light. It charges by USB. If you go to Amazon, you just search, I think I searched laptop ring light. It helped to lighten me up a bit because it's not a very bright room. This is my learning space. It's in my bedroom, and I don't mind it. It does not bother me at all. I just don't have another space in my house that'll work. I need to have a door that can shut to keep my many animals out of the room. I wanted to set it up like a regular classroom as much as possible so students had the benefit of that experience of being in a regular classroom. But yeah, so having a standing up space has been really beneficial for me. Having the stool, which I got for free off the side of the road, has also been really helpful for when I do want to sit. But it helps me get my steps in throughout the day. And another pro tip, got this at Dollarama, is a balance board. And so I had mentioned before that I run a whole group and my partner runs a whole group each day. So if I'm not managing something at that time, I'm going to be standing, I can't do it right now, on my balance board. Right, I am, what's the word? Engaging my, I can't balance right now because I'm too tired. Right, I am in here, I'm doing the chat box with the parents and I'm supporting them, grown-ups, and getting them logged in and dealing with any emails while she is running the whole group lesson. But I'm also getting a little bit of a workout at the same time, and wow, I cannot balance right now. Yeah, so having a standing up space I feel like is super important. Last thing I'm going to say is your first day is going to suck. You're going to feel like it sucks, but at the end, your grown-ups are going to be blown away. They're going to be impressed. They're going to be thankful. You may have a couple that are a little frustrated, just as you are, because things didn't work like they're supposed to. Codes won't work, internet dropping, power going out. Power went out on my first day of summer learning programs. That was fun. It was a localized area outage, which I think ended up being unexplained. So I just thought that was really interesting. Everything that can go wrong in a first day will. And, you know, you'll have hiccups in your first week. But, like, we're already getting messages and emails from parents telling us how grateful and happy and impressed they are with everything that we're doing so far and what their child gets to experience. And so just know that even if it's rough going at first, you'll get in the routine. Your students will get in the routine. Your families will get into the routine. And they're going to see how amazing you are as educators. They're going to be so impressed with the great things that you do and the great aspects that you're able to provide in your both classroom structure and how you program for the day. And they're just going to see that you are an amazing educator, and they're going to appreciate all the things that you do for them and their families in supporting them in learning through this really unique situation that we're in. I am just going to touch on really quickly on a lot of people have brought up the issue of equity and accessibility for all families in terms of being able to even have the option on the table of doing virtual learning, having an adult at home with a child. That's not something I was covering in this video. I just want you to know that I'm aware of that being an issue, but I don't have a resolution to that, and I'm not going to try to offer a resolution to issues with, you know, not everyone can access this right now. I don't have a solution to that. However, it's something I really want to read more about and get to understand more. How in the future, if this is a situation or a thing that needs to happen again, how can we ensure that it is an equitable situation for all? So just to reiterate, you're running a normal school day. They're playing throughout the day. You're supporting your families and your students through whole small group one-on-one learning, as well as conferencing with the grown-ups, using those documentation pieces that you would normally have. You're running a normal school day. It's just a little bit different. I believe all of you will have a great year. I believe in you. I believe in your students and families. You're going to rock this. You are ECEs and OCTs and EAs and whoever else is watching. You can do this. I believe in you.